drive to Phoenix and back. I am so sick of being in the car. I can cry. Over it. Like, I didn't want to fly. I was like, please.
Please can we fly?
Please, can we just fly?
Yeah. That's cool. My ticket's sold.
Yeah, very last minute, my friend from the warehouse got somebody to buy it. So
That's awesome.
So that was good. Yeah, we had put it on Craigslist,
Yeah.
Phoenix, and it just wasn't over. They were selling them buy one get one free on Groupon for $30 for nosebleed seats.
Yeah.
But still, it just devalued all the seats. What else?
Our dog sitter is really awesome. That came out to be a really good thing.
Oh, good.
Yeah. She sent me, she texted me pictures after every visit, so I was never worried that the house had burned down.
Right. So wait, did Morgan go with you?
No, but what happened, Morgan's going to stay at home and take care of everything. And then at the last minute, my mom called and convinced her to come to Maryland.
Oh my gosh.
I know. She's such a vulture.
My gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
So Morgan went to Maryland.
Yeah, she did. And then my mom wanted her for 2 weeks, and then she, like, after about 5 days, she just said, I need to go home. So, yep, she went to Maryland.
Joni's Noah drove to Canada. He's in Vancouver.
Really?
He's having an adventure.
Wow.
I'm calling her every 20 minutes, it seems like.
Okay.
Hey guys. Yes. Good times. So there, I have a question. I don't know if any of you would be. Are you a senior this year? Okay, you're out. Just go.
Yes, go on.
There is a thing coming up in September in Portland called the Youth Ministry Revival. And it's all about having worship integrated into youth. And they're suggesting teams of people go. So, like, a couple of you, DRE, and Mr. Patty's still on the fence. She got invited to speak LGBTQ. So Joni's gonna go. Joni and I are gonna go. And we can talk. Something to think about. And we missed the early registration deadline. But Arthur's also doing this year. So I was like trying to get together our younger folks who can use these skills longer. And I was literally looking for somebody who could, because music is an integral part of worship, right? So that's why I was thinking. So think about that. It's $125 and then flying as low as I have funds for each travel. So our portion that we ask you guys to do. Yeah. We will all be sleeping at our but I think they separated into halves. So we will look at So, yeah. So, one of us, it's the 23rd. So, we're going to be, it's a Friday. That is the correct answer. I was told. My daughter's actually all about right. Let's try to coordinate the flight this time.
Yes.
Just sitting here having this conversation is making me realize there was supposed to be a sign in the back for that. We got a check for you or something. We didn't know it was for. And this time, I think it might just be for you. This time, so it is difficult to coordinate schedules and flights. Anyway, we'll talk more later. It's going to be a big class. Go out, explore, work with your individuals.
Okay, let me give you just a little bit more room here.
This is pretty slick, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah, this went together about 10-15 minutes faster than doing it over
Yeah.
there. Yeah, I'm a fan.
I'm deciding where to put it, and that other table's gone. And,
Yeah, well, and it frees up more room there too, you know?
well, another thing too is it doesn't take much to run the sound. And
Yeah.
doubling up back here just frees one person.
Yeah. You know what? It's a good point. Do we now have a responsibility to? Oh, that's a good question. Do we have a responsibility to this? Like if something's going on? Or?
So all you need to really worry about is the volume. Make sure the volumes are up.
Yeah.
And then those top two knobs over there.
These two?
Yeah, if there's ever a
The feedback loop
feedback, then adjust those. One of those.
down? Or
I don't know if it would be. I guess it would be down probably.
down? Yeah, okay, down.
Yeah.
Don't,
That would make sense.
don't put
Don't make
gasoline
it
on
worse,
fire.
Yeah.
okay.
Right. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that, yeah, it does make sense that, you know.
Yeah, well, there's not
Mix
much
them
to
up.
do with the sound. Every now and then
Yeah.
you have to kill the reverb or something.
Right.
yeah.
Are these the only two ones we
Generally,
use? Are
that's all
of
you
those?
use.
Are these other ones you can hook
Now,
up?
sometimes
You can
when
do
there's a
up to 7.
band or something, they'll have their own stuff they
Right.
plug in.
Right.
But you don't have that today, so.
But in terms of like configured stuff here, these two are it.
That's it.
All these other ones we don't even have. Oh, okay. Well, that's easy.
I know, really
Yeah.
easy. So it makes sense to
These
blend
things just
everything.
look intimidating.
They do look intimidating.
It's not that
Yeah.
intimidating. Yeah.
In fact, here's, as I took this down to read over it, would you mind just hanging it back up on that?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, you-
Yeah,
just
that
pull the
push
tab
pin.
out, pull out the push pin.
There's a,
Got it. All right. Well, yeah, that's easy.
Yeah, so we've got it down to a system.
I was telling Deborah this took 15 minutes less time to set up, 10, 15 minutes
Because you
less.
didn't have to pull everything out.
Yeah, and plug it all in. It's already plugged in.
Yeah.
It's really convenient.
and
Now,
you-
is this Russ's handiwork?
No, that was
no,
already
that,
there.
yeah.
Oh, what was here before?
A soundboard that was not being used. So he and Jan came late one night
Yeah.
and they ripped that out.
And it just happened to fit
It
perfectly.
happened to fit perfectly.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
It never happened.
I know. I know. So,
Oh, cool.
and I bought these, and then we talked to our maintenance person, and he's going to configure a pole through there, and then we're gonna have all that wired directly.
Oh, okay.
Have you set up the new system over here? We have two now.
Yeah. You had. I've never set it up myself, but I've seen
Okay,
it.
you've
But
seen
it's
it.
all just connected.
Yeah, it's not really
Okay.
difficult.
Yeah. You just plug it in and then you connect.
The only
it all.
thing to make sure was that the second transmitter is plugged in. I didn't plug it in one week, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it to work downstairs.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got everything connected except the power.
Pivotal
Yeah.
part. Yeah. All right.
It's always the power that gets me. It's the little things. Turning it on, putting the power on.
Wi-Fi. It's on the same frequency. I don't know what's going on.
Now, do you need to go downstairs and turn something on?
I just did that. I turned the 2 TVs on.
Okay. Is that camera working?
It is.
Okay.
In fact, I turned the volume on the TV down a little bit because it was so loud.
All right.
It's picking up on every conversation. So just
That's a
be
little
aware.
That's a little scary.
I know, no conspiracy talk.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I probably said a mild curse word when we cut the service off. We didn't know about purging the memory card. And after the guy talked a little bit over, and it just suddenly went to this camera ad that was just recycling.
Switch to the screensaver.
Yeah.
Well, so I went into the menu and I went to storage and I clicked on both internal and then the card and it didn't like give me any options. So it says there's like 600 minutes.
Okay,
Okay, I'm just the
that
minutes.
should be enough.
The minutes that show up is what's on there, right?
That's what's on there. I would
10
think
hours,
so.
yeah.
So this minute count here. You see how it says the 667? Is that how much time's left? I'm
Or is
assuming.
that how much time has passed?
I don't know.
Let's see if it goes up or down in a minute. We'll know, right?
Okay.
Because if it was how much.
Well, here, let me show you.
Okay.
I'm gonna try not to mess it up. But, okay, if I click, yeah, it won't let me because it's recording. But yeah, I clicked on storage and it gave me 2 options: the card and then the internal memory. And I clicked on both, and it wasn't like
There's
any.
no format option.
Yeah, and so I was thinking, oh, it's not. There's nothing.
Huh. Okay, there must be nothing then.
Okay. I mean, I'd assume if you guys
Yeah.
had an issue, you guys are like, all right, purge.
Yeah, Russ
purge,
must
purge.
have purged it last week. Did he help you take it down?
Yeah,
Okay.
he did
He must
that.
have purged it
Okay.
then, I
Okay.
would assume.
Well, I'll check it after. I'm sure
Okay.
now when I take it down, there'll be something
Yeah.
in there.
Well, Deborah, do you feel comfortable turning
Oh.
the sound off?
I didn't know it did that.
Oh.
Oh, I turned it off last week.
Oh, that's a delay, I think.
No, I know, but I didn't know that, like, if you go into the menu on here, it'll
Oh,
actually
yeah.
show it on
Yeah,
the,
that camera's kind of weird that way.
like, when would you ever want that? And this is how you configure the menu.
I'm just thinking I might go home and study if you guys are okay.
I can turn the sound off. That's
Okay,
easy.
Cody's here.
Yeah, Cody can deal with this stuff.
Yeah.
And we
You're
just gotta
here,
lock
take it down.
everything up,
Lock
and
it
then I gotta
down.
put that key back over
Number
there.
5, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go work on project management today.
Oh, fun. Have fun with that.
Well,
It's hard. Like I was thinking, oh, this will be easy. It's just, I'm a manager, but no, formulas and
Are you doing the, there's a CSC?
I'm not doing that. I forgot what the certification is called. But it's using, and now I'm forgetting the name of the book, but it's this standard, a set of standards that is out there.
Is it the, I only ask because my company does it. Is it the SDLC?
That sounds familiar. It's one
Or
of
the, not Excel, not, why am I forgetting? Gosh.
It's like Association of Project Managers or something. But that's not right. It's not that.
No, well, there's a methodology that they use. I'm trying to think of it. It's like a sprint. There's a sprint. There's
Scrum?
the Scrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not doing Scrum today, but that's something I need to learn on the side. Probably when I'm doing my master's. I don't think that any of my classes will cover Scrum. But I need to learn that in an Agile also.
Agile. That's what I
Is
was
that the one
thinking.
you're
Yeah, it's like
thinking of?
Excel.
Yeah.
No, Agile. Yeah.
Agile and Scrum. Those are the 2 big ones right now.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
It's fine, it's just those formulas. I had no idea that there was all that memorization.
Well, yeah. What's hard? Well, the part that I think it would be really hard is the all the budgeting, like you have to, all your actuals and all that stuff. It's like,
Yeah, that doesn't seem as intimidating to me. And I mean, the kind of project management I'll be doing is not construction. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not going to be production exactly. So I think a lot of what I'm learning won't really apply because it will be the Scrum and the Agile and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Still have to.
Yeah, a lot of learning. Isn't that how it is though? It's like you go, like so much of what you learn is like just going to be lost.
Right. Yeah.
just-
I mean, I already lost some of what I've already learned. So,
Yeah,
and that's only
and
been
you'll
a year.
never lose it.
Right. Yeah. Well, you have to learn on the job anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no one's going to teach you. Well, I mean, especially in technology, by the time you learn it in college, it's obsolete.
Right.
There will probably be somebody who cites Agile and Scrum in years. So who knows?
And they only adopt, at least my company only adopts these things because they just want to be more efficient. They actually don't care how. It's
Yeah.
just like,
It's just-
we need a better way.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I've heard really good things about Scrum in particular. Because they do standing meetings, and I like that concept. Nobody can waste your time and everyone's standing.
Yeah. Oh, actually stand up meetings.
Standing, yeah. Standing
People-
meeting every morning.
People, yeah, well, that's hard when you're all virtual.
That's true. You can't all stand.
Yeah, well, we can, but
But
it kind of loses the
pointless,
effect.
Yeah.
Everyone stand up at your home desk.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my company just keeps it.
Anyway.
All right, well, go have fun with that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for coming in today. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no worries.
All right.
No worries. Take care.
Plays viola.
So,
Brian, are you running things?
yeah,
You got the sound?
it's just these two. You know, I've never touched one of these things before, and it's not as intimidating as I thought it was.
You do a basic rundown. This is your mass jack. Controls the max level, everything you need. That one is probably normal for this side. 1 and 2, obviously those are your 2 mics that are running right now. What it's like. The top knob there is the gain. And the gain tells the mic to grab more sound. So that's why they have like a squelching noise. That's up to you.
So if
So you may have to turn that down.
If I hear that feedback loop, okay.
Sometimes I walk in and people turn that way down for whatever they were doing. And it just makes our system sound.
Right.
So the other knobs are basically like your treble, your mid-range, your bass pieces. And you don't have to mess with any of that. But yeah, really it's just...
I'm most concerned with meaning it. Actually, this is fine. I can
Yeah,
do
you're
this.
fine there. Just don't lean off the power.
Yeah. He's like, what happened?
I'm here if there's any issues.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we should be good.
okay.
Pokemon doc.
Oh, this?
No, I'm joking with you.
Oh, no. My sister does that. She's all about it.
Yeah.
Pokemon stuff.
You telling me at work they had a sign, this is not a place that...
That was Cody. But yeah, the people have to do that. It's really interesting because now I've been reading articles about how, like, is it even legal? Like, so you have, I mean, people's property is their stuff, right? But now you have this interface that takes real stuff and overlays a game on top of it. So is that even legal to, like, you have private property?
They talk about it, but there's been people, like political people, that have done stuff to the opposing side like that. And there's one video, was they actually on the news where this person's driving doing that?
Yeah.
And they rear-ended a police cruiser. And then the guy gets out, he's holding his phone, and he said, God, I'm playing that stupid game. It's all on video. I mean,
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's going to go to court and they're going to play that video and the guy's creamed.
Yeah, I mean, it's worse than texting because, you know, you can't be on your phone when you're fucked. You just can't.
And how many times have you stopped at a red light when there's somebody walking across the street doing that? Anyway.
Okay.
Welcome to the South Valley Unitarian Universalist Society. I hope this was where you were planning on being, because this is where you ended up. And even if you weren't planning to be here, I'm asking you to stay, relax for a while, and to enjoy today's service. We have some important things to talk about. Oh, and if you will, please silence your electronic devices. I invite you to enjoy the chapel at the back of the sanctuary and note the joys and concerns in the book there. If you have little ones, we have a nursery downstairs, and after our service, I invite you all downstairs to enjoy our hospitality and greet one another. Finally, please note the announcements in your orders of service, and I was asked to specifically point out the yellow one. We've got a camping weekend coming up in a few weeks, and Jen really will be downstairs to take registrations, right? So if you want to raise your hand, so she'll be downstairs to take registration and answer any questions about that. Okay, for today's prelude, we have the song of Cat Stevens, Where Will the Children Come?
Good morning, everyone. My name's Christine Hero, and you couldn't tell it by the badge I'm wearing today because it says visitor, but I really am a member. And I'm also serving on the Board of Trustees. I just started my third of 3 years of my current term as determined by you, the members, who elected me 2 years ago. Come, whoever you are welcome here. No matter your age, your size, the color of your eyes, your hair, your skin, you are welcome here. No matter who you love, how you speak, or whatever your abilities, you are welcome here. You're welcome here whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears. You are welcome here. You can come here with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. You are welcome here.
I'm Val Elise. I'm a member here at South Valley Unitarian Universalist. And I'd like to welcome you with the words, with a quote from Rachel Carson. Those who contemplate the beauty of the earth find reserve and strength that will endure as long as life lasts. Those who dwell among the beauties of the earth are never alone or weary of life. The more clearly we can focus our attention on wonders and realities of the universe about us, the less taste we have for its destruction. Today we are lucky to have Kaylee and Kaylee here. They're two activists working to help humans improve their interaction with the earth, which is much about sustainable living, but it's as much about sustainable living as building and enhancing relationships with each other. Now, I'd like you to join us for our morning hymn, number 38. Please rise as you're willing and able. Morning has broken.
I've invited Senya Walker to light our chalice.
Okay, today I'm going to tell you an absolutely true story, and it's a story about a dog named Honey. Now, it's a very interesting story. When I lived in Montana, we often would go hiking, and we didn't hike unless we had our bear spray, because there's lots of bears, and we had our little dog with us. So one day we decided to hike a canyon, and it had a canyon name just like the canyons here. It was called Cottonwood Canyon. There's probably like 300 million Cottonwood Canyons in the United States, but this was a Cottonwood Canyon. And so to get to Cottonwood Canyon, you had to drive down a little ranch road. It wasn't a road that was very busy at all. So when we got to the trailhead, we had passed a few ranches on both sides, but we weren't kind of near a ranch at all. So we got out, and my daughter and my son and our little dog were getting out of the car, and up comes this big golden retriever. How many of you have seen golden retrievers before? They're pretty big, fluffy dogs, right? So this golden retriever came up, and there was nobody around. And this golden retriever looked really well fed, really happy, and she had a collar on. So I looked at her collar, and all it said was Honey, Honey on it. And I thought, well, this is Honey, but where are Honey's people? There's no car here. There's no house here. So what is Honey doing here? Well, anyway, Honey was very nice and said hi to my children and said hi to our dog. And we decided we would go on our little hike, and when we got back, we would take Honey with us and figure out where Honey lived. So we get ready to go, and Honey gets right next to us. And we start hiking down that trail. And we hiked a mile, and Honey hiked with us. We hiked 2 miles, and Honey hiked with us. Some people who must have been on the higher trail came down and then passed us, and Honey just ignored them. Honey was with us. And so when we went about 2.5 miles, I figured it was time to turn around. We turned around, and Honey turned around with us. And so as we were coming back, again, more people were coming up the trail, and Honey pretended that she was our dog. And so when we got back to the car, we were saying, well, what are we going to do with Honey? We probably better take her and find out where she belongs. So I called Honey, and I said, well, come on, Honey, get in the car with us. And Honey wouldn't get in the car. Instead, Honey started trotting down the road. I'm like, what's going on? So we hopped into the car, and we followed Honey, because we wanted to make sure Honey was okay. Well, about a 1/4 mile down the road, Honey turned into a driveway. And Honey went over to the house, hopped up on the porch, and laid down. Honey just wanted to go for a hike. That's it. Honey needed someone to hike with, so Honey decided to go up the road, wait at the trailhead for someone to show up, and go hiking with her. She did a nice hike, and then she went back. And it makes me really interested, because I kind of think that Honey knew that she needed to go hiking, and she knew that she needed to have someone to hike with.
Sandy was the second costliest hurricane in the history of the United States, and she didn't leave the Caribbean or nations of the West Indies without damage either. Around 200,000 Haitians were made homeless. 70% of Jamaica was without power. We watched in horror as entire towns were ripped from the ground. Community centers, churches like this one, schools, homes. We continued to watch then, a month later, as low-income residents on the East Coast couldn't find access to the electricity and still didn't have life-saving prescriptions. Sandy killed 233 people, but somehow this felt manageable. Maybe it's the news cycle or the internet or whatever, but we're all accustomed to numbers of that variety being thrown around. We all took time to grieve, but we mostly took time to clean up. Mother Nature flexed her muscles as a warning: do not continue to hurt me, I will hurt you too.
Reeling from the great losses of disasters like Hurricane Sandy that seem to keep coming, the world searched for solutions to this rapidly changing climate. And then in fall 2015, the global community came together in Paris to discuss climate change. Following a terrible week of grief and loss, the world watched as leaders tried to work together to address the rising temperatures by regulating emissions of fossil fuel. Across the ocean, the Marshall Islands, found between Hawaii and Australia, are sinking. Or rather, the ocean is rising. While the sea creeps up on the coastal borders around the world, the Marshall Islands are some of the first to experience the direct effects of these massive impacts due to climate change. Both their low elevation and coral land mass make these particular islands more susceptible than most. Approximately 72,191 people live on the Marshall Islands. So the leaders of the Marshall Islands came to Paris in 2015 to tell the world it's 1.5 to stay alive. And they met 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature, 1.5 degrees Celsius of temperature increase globally. For them, any agreement between world leaders that would allow the temperature to rise more than 1.5 degrees Celsius would mean destruction to their entire country, homeland, and livelihood. And somehow, after almost a month of discussions regarding the temperature increase between global leaders, it was agreed that we would allow the Earth's temperature to increase 2 degrees Celsius, not 1.5. It's a death sentence for the islands. How does the world community deal with the unfortunate reality that a human-created climate change caused mostly by people who do not live on the Marshall Islands will mean that those 72,191 people will lose their livelihoods? Is there a way to pay a nation back for completely destroying its existence when we all sit and watch their country go underwater? And how does a person grieve not just the loss of their home, but their entire nation? Is there anything I can do about it?
Skip ahead just once more to May of 2016. We've both been in graduate school for about 9 months now. We're fully absorbed in this crisis we're facing. We spend days at a time sifting through academic journals and articles. There's a lot of numbers. The CIA issues a report that estimates of the 150,000 people per year are dying from something related to climate change. This is approximately the population of Salt Lake City. The World Health Organization guesses it'll be closer to 300,000 in the coming decade. 6 digits in a row don't fully encapsulate what it means for that much life to be lost. There's something that's been building up in me regarding this, sort of grieving. I don't really see a lot of death here in Utah as a result of these climate issues. Sure, we have bad air, maybe here too. But we're lucky in that way. The death is there nonetheless. It's there, distant, and I'm aware of it. My roommate is Pakistani. I'm sitting at my kitchen table getting some work done, watching her prepare dinner. She's slicing and dicing and simmering everything. Our apartment smells great. Another friend shares an article with me online and I open it. The title reads, Pakistan digs mass graves as heat wave looms. People who look like my roommate, speak her language and eat the food she cooks right here in front of me, are digging graves to prepare for future deaths of the families that are imminent. The drought that's plaguing the Middle East and South Asia right now is the worst the region has seen in 900 years. The temperature hovers around 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Across Pakistan, people die of thirst and starvation. And now it is certain, more will die. So many more will die, in fact, that we must dig graves in preparation for their death. We're overwhelmed with this grief for what we've already lost. From beautiful landscapes and spiritual sites like the Glen Canyon, homes, schools, and churches like what Hurricane Sandy took, entire livelihoods and countries as we're seeing in the Marshall Islands. But are we ready to grieve for those who know their death is coming and can't do anything to stop it? We don't know their names, we don't know their occupations, or even their favorite ice cream flavors. They're humans. We just know that loss is coming, and millions of mothers, fathers, brothers, and sisters will have to cope with it. So how do we all, as humans, cope with certain death of thousands? So maybe for good measure, we just all take a breath for a second. I know that's sort of a lot, so we can collectively kind of inhale and exhale. We'll get to the good part here. Kaylee's going to start us off.
So there you go. You just look climate change in the face. Pretty grim. At this point, you're probably wondering why we just spoke about death for 7 minutes. The thing is, we're about to ask you to imagine a world where people are inspired to change everything about their lives. And from what we can tell, folks are a lot more likely to change everything when they have everything to lose. A woman named Naomi Klein recently wrote a book on climate change, and she starts with an introduction titled, One Way or Another, Everything Changes. What she means is we have a choice to make. We can decide to let the climate change us, or we can take this scary and complex problem and turn it into an opportunity. Once we start staring climate change in the face and recognize the real and powerful impacts it can have on human life, we can begin to repair not just our relationship with the natural world, but our role as powerful individuals within strong communities. It's the revolutionary power of climate change. How many of you have heard of a woman named Donna Young? Probably not that many. She's a midwife from Vernon, Utah, and you may remember a Rolling Stone article about her a year ago. When she began, they wrote it when she began receiving threats after becoming vocal about infant mortality. She and others believe that the extremely high rates of infant mortality and miscarriage are due to the terrible air quality and questionable water quality as a result of fracking in the Uinta Basin. But Vernal is an oil and gas town that needs the economic gain from the fracking industry. And Donna Young knows this. She herself grew up near oil and gas. Her children work in oil and gas. She is not opposed to oil and gas. But she's also a midwife, and so when infant mortality rates in her small town are rising rapidly, she notices. Donna Young is brave. She spoke up first to health officials, then to local papers, and she didn't shy away when an international magazine asked to interview her. She sleeps with a gun nearby in case any of the numerous threats she received become reality. She didn't and still doesn't consider herself to be an activist. Young is brave because while living her day-to-day life, she noticed a terrible injustice, and rather than deciding to continue on business as usual, she stepped outside of her role as a midwife and spoke up. And it was uncomfortable, and I'm sure she doesn't feel like the town hero. But Donna Young serves as an example of someone who saw an act of environmental injustice and did something. A lot of you probably remember when Terry Tempest Williams purchased a plot of land that was intended for oil and gas development from the Bureau of Land Management this past February. In a similar act of disobedience to that attempted to Christopher a few years before, Williams attempted to interrupt an auction by saving land from oil and gas development. And she knew the consequence would be jail time. But stopping the development of oil and gas is one of the most crucial steps in slowing the threat of climate change. Williams has been a professional author for her entire adult life, but it wasn't until recently that she began to identify and assume the role of activist. Both of us have had the opportunity and privilege of working with Terry through our graduate studies, and it's been a powerful chance to watch as she transformed from an author into a civil disobedience activist. And it may look easy because she's a famous author or because she seems so composed surrounded by media, but it wasn't. Terry Tempest Williams is brave. So brave that she addressed her identity and career at a stage in life when most of us have decided to remain the way we are. And she didn't do it because it seemed fun. She did it because she stared climate change in the face and realized that she had to become uncomfortable to make a necessary difference. Bravery is stepping outside of your comfort zone to make a difference. That means different things for different people, and it certainly does not need to make a Rolling Stones magazine for it to be worthwhile. For me, uncomfortable bravery means different things on different days. Sometimes it means showing up at the legislature to talk to representatives even when I'm nervous. Other days it means riding my bike in the rain. But we believe it does go past the simple act of recycling and turning off your lights. For action to be brave, it must make you uncomfortable, but in a good way. The revolutionary power of climate change is that it allows us to better ourselves by being brave and standing up for what is right, living by the principles of our house of worship, the mission statements of our schools and businesses. And we are going to need a lot of brave people. We face a rapidly deteriorating climate caused by an unsustainable economic system that oppresses people based on race, religion, class, and gender. That is a lot to deal with, and it starts with having uncomfortable conversations. And being brave in the face of that many global issues is really, really hard, which is why we believe it takes a community to foster brave individuals.
There are probably a wide variety of reasons you all come to this church. Having spoken briefly to a few of you, as well as knowing some other Unitarians outside of Sandy in this community, it seems that it's a pretty diverse group. I've talked to Unitarians who identify as atheists, others who are Christians, and a few who are Buddhists. I've met some without high school diplomas and others with PhDs. While everyone has their own reason for congregating in this place, one thing that you all share in common is your appreciation for this community. Can't seem to agree on much in this country these days, but strong communities are something everyone can get behind. Strong communities make us safer, fulfill us, they help us raise healthy children and productive ones too. Strong communities are accepting of all people. They support the most vulnerable members in our society, the homeless, the sick, and the ill. They give us lifelong friends and introduce us to our future partners. And yet, do most Americans really feel they're part of something larger than themselves? The reality is the problems that climate change will bring, and the ones it's already brought, require strong communities. Science tells us that we'll have more natural disasters, more hurricanes, more floods, more tornadoes, more droughts. No city on earth is exempt from this, not even Salt Lake. But the ones that will fare the best are those where individuals can rely on one another. When we accept that climate change is coming, we accept the inevitability of helping our next door neighbors empty water out of their flooded basement, or sharing our lucky garden's successful tomato harvest on a dry year, or volunteering our time to the local soup kitchen that feeds refugees, the ones who fled home after an earthquake in Indonesia, or a civil war caused by drought in Syria. When the winds of climate change inevitably knock us down, those who stand together as members of something larger, providing aid, acting selflessly, and supporting those around them in whatever way they can, will be the ones who emerge victorious. Communities help us deal with the physical threats of a changing climate, sure, but they also indirectly help with perhaps the most important thing that any of us can do, which Val did really well here in front just a few minutes ago, which is to educate and raise a new generation of critically thinking and loving children who are dedicated to tackling these problems head on. How many of you guys are parents? Okay, quite a few. So I'm not one, but I do know that while my mother is a perfect saint of a human being who couldn't have done a better job loving me and my brother, she didn't accomplish this alone. She couldn't have done it without other family members, sure, but she also couldn't have done it without my next door neighbor whose dog became my best friend. My mailman, who knew me by name and gave me candy while I excitedly grabbed for the National Geographic. The man down the street who ran to grab me off my bike just in time for me to avoid getting hit by the car. Perhaps anecdotal and perhaps a bit of a tangent, sure. But nonetheless, I was raised not just by my parents. I was raised by everyone who lived on Willow Drive, everyone who called Whispering Creek subdivision home, and everyone who attended their work at Central Elementary. I was raised by a strong community. And I know not everyone in this room is a parent or even plans to be one. But we can all carry some pieces of the community we already operate in, like this strong one right here in South Valley UU. We can work towards empowering another generation of brave, compassionate thinkers to lead the fight to save the climate. Now, all of this may still seem quite a bit abstract. Communities don't emerge overnight, and not everyone happens to witness or be able to act on as blatant of an injustice as Terry Tempest Williams or Donna Young. Neither one of us expects that, and we certainly haven't done that impressive things. But the silver lining in the madness of climate change is that even your individual daily actions matter. And in almost every case, those actions are improving your own quality of life as well. There are some obvious ones that I'm sure many of you already engage in. A meatless Monday, perhaps even a meatless Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which greatly reduces the amount of carbon dioxide and methane in the atmosphere. But you also might force you to eat a few of the bitter leafy greens in the back of your fridge, or figure out what charge really is. Because who knows? Studies also show that cities with high rates of bikers, carpoolers, and public transit commuters generally have high rates of civic engagement. More people vote. And what do you know? There's less air pollution there too. These problems are multifaceted and complex, and in most cases the fault of huge systems rather than any person here in this room. Some of you probably commute via car because that's the only efficient way to get to work, home, and spend time with your loved ones, and that's okay. As other Kaylee mentioned earlier, braving change look different for every individual here. Regardless, it is not until we confront the death and grief that come with the changing climate that we'll be forced to step outside of our comfort zone, improving the lives of ourselves, our communities, and the planet for future generations. I don't have all the answers to solving this unprecedented, absolutely terrifying crisis we face. In fact, if graduate school has taught us anything so far, it's that we actually know virtually nothing. But what I do know is that acting on climate change is both a moral obligation as well as an incredible opportunity. To speak up about the fact that people west of I-15 breathe far worse air and have less access to public transportation. To talk to your maybe sometimes silly brother about how other countries have smoothly and quickly transitioned to nearly full clean energy use already. To invite your neighbors over for dinner. To look more closely at your community, go to a park. To eat a few less pieces of bacon. Or to get a nice calf workout on your road bike. 2016 has certainly been a very hard pill to swallow, with daily news coverage of racial injustice, senseless violence, and despair. It seems that we may need humanity more than ever in this moment, and climate change could be the perfect opportunity to find that humanity right now. Thank you for your time.
To me, doing some workshops with our community and talking about those things that are important to us, and things like how do we get those people who really seem set in their ways and really don't feel like they can believe that something is going on, that something is man-made. How do we help them understand that sometimes you can do something even if you don't believe that you are the cause of it? So they were talking to me, and we sat and had a really nice meeting. So if there is interest, would you please find them or find me after the service, And we'll talk, because they're willing to do a series of workshops for us. This work is really important, and they want to help us with it. So, there we go. If you'd like to join us now, I have to make sure I don't say this in the wrong order, so I don't. Our closing song is number 163, For the Earth for Returning. If you wish to stand, you're welcome to. Closing words come to us from the first book of Corinthians. Keep alert. Stand firm in your faith. Be courageous. Be strong. And let all that you do be done in love. Okay, I'd like a chance to let our guests introduce themselves. We do that at this point. I hope so. I better look at my first. Actually, we do the postlude first, and then we do. Sorry. When I used to speak in another congregation, and they always introduced the guests before they did the postlude. But our closing song is Bob Dylan. us know what brought you to the